Welcome to the Yankee Rican podcast, where we talk all things Yankee and sports related content. I am so excited to be back alongside the best co host in the world, Tio Kum. And
He's
I
back.
am, of course, he's back.
He's back after a 2-week hiatus of just pure presentational work. He
Yep.
is finally back, ladies and
And all
gentlemen.
sorts of projects. And I'm of course, Frankie Crespo. And I'm so glad to be back. It's been a very stressful 2 weeks. End of finals. Of course, we're doing presentations, projects. We're doing all. We're writing more than we have ever wrote in our entire lives. But it's been exciting. It's been great. We've officially wrapped up by this point. I literally only have one more thing to do, which I can do in my sleep, but I will not. Because I need to get it done before I sleep. But basically, yeah, we had to go on a hiatus. The stress, the pressure, the work, you know how it is. But we're glad to be back. A lot has happened since our last recording. And yeah, we're just glad to be back. We love doing this show. This is officially our 10th episode, which is great. No one believed that we would make it this far, but we did. No, but
That's not true. That's
yeah,
not true.
no, everyone actually thought we were gonna keep doing this. So, but we're glad to be back. Special 10th anniversary episode, not really. 10th episode, but I guess the first important bit of news that we have to talk about is since we last uploaded, John Sterling passed away, which is devastating. Even now, 2 weeks later, it's still devastating because he passed away only I think a few days after our last upload. Because it's one of those things where, yeah, go ahead if you want to share something.
No. Yeah, it was very sudden. It was a couple days after our podcast episode was released, and obviously, it's sad. John Sterling is forever a Yankee legend and forever a broadcasting legend. And especially his condition. Michael Kay was talking about it. I think it was in his own podcast. Where John Sterling wanted to live long enough to walk his daughter down the aisle for a wedding. And he tried for so long to be able to make that wish come true. It hurts, man, because this guy has been a legend. Like I said, a broadcasting legend. And really one of the last few broadcasting legends that were left. Vince Scully passed away in 2022.
Bob
Uecker passed away not too long ago. There was another broadcaster that passed away from the Rays, which was very, very sudden. Do you remember? Do you know who I'm talking about? He was a radio broadcaster, not the TV broadcaster.
Sadly, no. But I do believe, yeah, he was. Let me see, Rays radio caster. Yeah, but honestly, basically, when it comes down to it, like, when somebody like this passes away, I mean, it's it hits us because we're fans. Of course, we're fans of the Yankees. He's the most iconic voice for the Yankees, in my opinion. John Sterling was there for so many of the biggest moments in Yankee history, and he's the voice I think of. Him, Michael Kay are the voices I think of when I think of the Yankees.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, it definitely hits us hard too, because you got to think about it. John Sterling basically is doing what we could only dream of at this moment. He got to work and be around his favorite team almost every single day. Every day they were playing, calling the game. And he got to work with a bunch of other sports organizations also, and he got to use his voice in a way that we again just wish, and we're working our way towards using our voices the exact same way. So honestly, John Sterling is sort of a hero to us. Being in the in the field for such a long time, being so iconic, being so great at his job too. Just it's just really upsetting. And the Yankees, honored him, and everyone, was devastated. And to honor John, all players are wearing John Sterling patches for the rest of the season. And yeah, basically, rest in peace, John Sterling. And hopefully, he's making great calls up there, and
Yeah.
we're just gonna miss him.
I wonder, if when the baseball players that passed away and they go over to the other side, do you think that the ones that passed away, the ones that first retired then passed away, are still playing baseball, or are they still like retired, like they don't want to play baseball?
That's a great question. Now, now we're gonna have a conversation about the afterlife. But I mean, I always had an idea that um when you go to heaven, or this afterlife, whatever, sure, that you return to the state of which you wish to return in, sort of. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
believe your prime was like 30 or 27, or whatever, then when your astral or heaven state, whatever, when you get to the other side, is going to be that form.
Yeah.
So basically what I think of is players who passed away, and if they loved playing, baseball that much, they're going to return to a state where they were really good. And yeah, why not play baseball in heaven? That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Um, hit it off the cloud in right field. And then basically, so yeah, I could imagine, players, Willie Mays, uh, Mickey Mantle, like playing outfield in heaven somewhere.
Yeah.
Thurman Munson at catcher, things like that. That sounds like a pretty fun time. And why wouldn't the commentators, the broadcasters, be there to broadcast the games? I'm sure they would enjoy doing that too. Um, so yeah, I think that could be a
We'll let you guys know in 100 years.
yeah.
But yeah, like we said, I mean, we grew up on John Sterling. I remember I would listen to some of the radio calls, whether it be in the car or at my grandfather's house, and he'll put on the radio when the TV wasn't working.
Mhm.
It's sad, but we have a new generation of broadcasters that are coming up. Um, so it's definitely interesting to see how this new generation will play out. But John Sterling will for be a legend. And fun fact about him, I didn't know this, but before he was broadcasting Yankee games, he was broadcasting another team. Do you know that team?
Well, he did a few teams, but I assume you're talking about the Mets.
No, I'm not talking about the Mets. Although he did do that. He did the Islanders, the hockey team. I didn't know that he broadcasted for the Islanders. But he did pretty good with them. He only did radio broadcasting, but I always found that interesting when broadcasters do other sports teams. Like the Rays announcer originally did the Yankees.
Mhm.
But now obviously not anymore. He's a Rays fan. Uh so rest in peace to John Sterling. I mean, we're like 2 weeks late to this, but might as well pay our respects now than never.
Yeah, I mean, officially here, I'm looking at the Baltimore Bullets, which I think eventually became Washington, right?
Yep.
Baltimore,
Yeah, they became
their
Washington.
play-by-play. Then he broadcasted for the New York slash New Jersey Nets. Actually, when they were still playing in the ABA, which is pretty cool. That's how he had a long career. Yes, Islanders from 1975 to 1978. I think that's when they were good. Then the Hawks from 81 to 89, and the Braves from 82 to 87, and obviously his tenure with the Yankees. And I do believe he also did uh the Mets on some occasions,
I think so.
because he has a pretty famous call um from the Mets, but I would have to look into that. But yeah, I mean, he's known as the Iron Voice for a reason. He just did not stop ever, being a broadcaster. He was always broadcasting every day. He never missed a day. And he only had retired in 2024. It wasn't that long ago that he officially retired. Um, but yeah, so rest in peace, John Sterling. We're gonna miss that voice, that iconic voice, and yeah, hopefully we hear it sometime in the future too.
Yeah. But and then the Yankees, they also they did like a little memorial. They put a patch for the Yankees, which are nice patches. They're a good addition. But switching on, we got to talk about this because the last episode, we talked about the Doomsday Clock. What was this Doomsday Clock? Is the return of Anthony Volpe. Which he made his return not too long after our podcast episode.
Funny enough.
Funny enough. And honestly, Anthony Volpe has been doing all right. He returned for the Subway Series. And what was most notable about Anthony Volpe was the fact that he was actually taking takes. He wasn't swinging at everything. He was walked twice at one point. And then he was walked again for the third game. So he played the second game of the Subway Series and then third game of the Subway Series. And in addition to that, he also got 2 hits off of their pitcher. I think it was Freddie Peralta. No. My mistake. The bullpen pieces for the Mets, which is, it's obviously easy to do.
All right, chill.
No. I'm fully going on the Mets right now because I was at the Subway Series and my sister is a Mets fan and I went with her boyfriend too, and so that's 2 Mets fans talking on my ear, talking about let's go Mets. I've been like la 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 la. But anyways, he was able to get some good takes. He got 2 walks in, and most notably, he did not give up an error, which was something that he was most known for.
E6. Yeah.
Vote E6.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess. Oh, sorry.
No. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I was thinking with Volpe is, yeah, he's been walking a lot since he's got called up to play shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He's still swinging, like especially even in yesterday's game. Even though that was a good result for Volpe, and like you had mentioned to me, was definitely he was definitely MVP of that game. He's still like taking awkward swings inside, like inside pitches. He still doesn't know how to like really take, or if they are inside, he's not swinging at them. Like they should be hittable pitches. Um, so I'm not sure if that's some sort of mental block or something, but I think even yesterday I saw Volpe take take a changeup down the middle, which is, I mean, if you're taking changeups down the middle, that's kind of a bad sign. Maybe you should swing at those. Typically,
Yeah. Don't do
that
that.
might be the best pitch. You get one good pitch every at bat. That's what they say. So if you're not swinging at that one, I don't know what you're gonna be swinging at. But yeah, he's been pretty good so far. Definitely doing his thing, working hard.
Yeah.
And I guess to that point is the reason why Volpe was playing shortstop was Caballero. He had been injured. So he stopped playing just for it seemed like only a week. He only stopped playing for a week.
Yeah, he was on the IL for only I think it was about a week he was on for the IL, so it wasn't too bad.
No, not at all. And our concern was when Volpe got called up, where was this guy Cabby was going to play? Because, obviously third base, you're platooning this guy McMahon and Rosario, and then at second you have Jazz, and Jazz is an everyday second baseman. So where are you going to play Caballero? Outfield was kind of, I mean, at the time it was kind of like, we don't know, because Dominguez, and then we knew that Spencer Jones was going to get called up. Oh, I guess that's another thing we should mention. Spencer Jones got called up during our time off, and we didn't get to talk about him at all.
No.
Like at all. Nothing crazy from Spencer, honestly. Just a bunch of singles, Great defense,
Yeah.
good running. But he didn't get one extra base hit, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I remember. You could fact check me on that.
The only time where he got an extra base hit was game 2 of the Subway Series.
And what was it? A double.
What? Yeah.
So okay, so I was wrong, but yeah, just one double. I don't know.
Oh,
Maybe it was
actually, no, I lied. I'm sorry. All he's had is a singles, all singles, and
it is all
that's it.
singles. Okay, I was like, I could have sworn no extra base hits. That's official. The statement is said here, which is
Yes.
frustrating. Um, because this guy was known for swinging hard and a lot of home runs. But I guess that's just how it turns out. He got called back down.
Yeah.
We
I mean,
have
I wasn't shocked about it per se because, in the very first podcast episode, we talked a lot about Spencer Jones and the amount of power swings that he's relying off of. We love to see power. I mean, we see it all the time. I mean, that's the walk-off that we had the other day with Aaron Judge. That was pure power. But also contact wins baseball, right?
yes.
And that's maybe something he'll learn with his time in the minor league system. But it's not really. But like the defense, we can have great defense, but we also need to see great contact hitting. We can win ball games with bloop singles, but we can't win all ball games with just one single at a time and no extra base hits. And it's frustrating because we expect that we expect that from Spencer Jones. Even though we barely get to see Spencer Jones, all he's really known for is home runs. So it's complicated when you want to get into detail with him. As this and the way I see Spencer Jones is that they're trying to project him as the next Aaron Judge. Because he's great with power hitting, but so far it hasn't been living up to that potential. And we'll see, because the Yankees are definitely going to bring Spencer Jones back up to the lineup at some point. Whether if it's at the end of the year or if it's with somebody, God forbid, gets the I word.
I
The
word.
I
Hopefully, there's
word.
no I words that are like worse than what we're referring to. But I
Uh,
guess
if you watched, if you know the I word is, if you're a sports fan, then you already know what I'm talking about.
yes.
Um, so listen, I'm not shocked that Spencer Jones has not lived up to that quote unquote potential, but we'll see.
Yeah. And since that time, Cabby eventually got to come back, and he played. He's actually played third base. Which might seem strange, especially since last time we were talking here, McMahon was just starting to heat up. He was just starting to take good swings again, and it was nice because again, he's such a great defender. And then you had Rosario, who was also taking great swings and playing good enough defense for the most part. So the fact that you now have Cabby playing third, you're like, ooh, so is this a scenario where if whoever starts slumping is going to get replaced, right? Because I mean, I assume against a righty, Caballero is not going to be starting at third. Against a righty, most likely that'll be McMahon. Jazz still at second. And at shortstop, I guess you're going to have Volpe since he's your everyday shortstop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then pitch hitting for Rosario and Cabby.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, my biggest concern has been Grisham because since Spencer Jones got called back down, and you still have Schumann. Schumann is not really. I mean, I don't really care for his hitting because he's not playing every day and he's only there for defense and speed. But
Mm-hmm.
Grisham hasn't really been hitting very all too well either. At least Spencer Jones was getting on base occasionally, and I feel like he could get around if he's given the chance. But Grisham's not even really getting on base at all, and he's your starting center fielder. So I was really wondering on what you felt about that.
It's not a good look. I mean, John from Maspeth did not like Trent Grisham. I like Trent Grisham, and I always felt like he has the potential to be into our starting lineup. Um, my biggest takeaway from Trent Grisham throughout the last few weeks is that it feels like it's been the opposite. Like whenever he's not starting, he's getting on base more often, right? Yesterday was not a good look. He went 0 for 4. Don't think he had a golden sombrero. No, he did not. He only had 2 strikeouts. And this is kind of like a back and forth that we have this problem with many of our players. It's just like there's going to be days where you're going to have a lot of off days, and there's going to be a couple days where you're going to do great. And listen, Trent Grisham, he knows his job is on the line. It's only a year contract. I don't think the Yankees will re-sign him next year if we're going to go all in on Spencer Jones. But time will tell to see if Trent Grisham will improve over the days. I mean, if you want to take a look at the last recent games, he went 2 for 3, 3 for 5, 1 for 1, 1 for 3. That's better than 0 and 4. It's frustrating because we're relying a lot on Trent Grisham to play on that outfield role while Jason Dominguez is out. But I still have the confidence that I do have with Trent Grisham. But obviously I can feel the frustration, right? And you can definitely feel the frustration too.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, my biggest concern with Grisham is, he's such a great defender, sure, but yeah, he needs to get on base more. He's taking a lot worse swings than we normally would see, which is definitely upsetting. Because I mean, if you're not going to get on base with a hit, you need to stop chasing so you could get a walk. But he's not walking enough to basically, outweigh how much his swinging is. And honestly, this is, I guess we could like transition to Jazz, because Jazz was that guy who we thought he was taking a lot of bad swings. And
Yeah.
now in these recent games, he's been taking a lot of great swings. And I think we could connect that to the fact that he started wearing Stanton's pants. And so I had a theory. Listen, I had a theory. So he starts wearing his pants, right? Starts wearing Stanton's pants. I said, if he wears Stan's pants and starts producing the way he does, why don't we just give Jazz a collection of pants from other great players?
Okay.
Like anytime he starts feeling like, oh, I think I'm starting to slump. Let me put on Judge's pants. Maybe we could reach out to Hall of Famers. Yankee Hall of Famers.
I like what Jazz has been doing with the pants. He's paying tribute to Jackie Robinson with the style of how he wears the pants. But excluding the pants, I think Jazz Chisholm has gone into a good contact flow. And that's great. That's what we've been looking for, Jazz Chisholm. And throughout the last couple of weeks, he's been doing well with the contact hitting, whether it's been going 1 for 3, 1 for 4, 1 for 3, or 2 for 4. It shows that he's improving. It shows that he's doing better takes. Yesterday he drove it in that run. And he took a walk too, which shows to me that he's at least taking better takes, something that we're not really seeing with Trent Grisham. Maybe he has to do something with the pants. I really doubt it, but I like that like I said, I like that he's doing the little, because he did it for Jackie Robinson Day,
Yes.
but now he's sticking with it.
I think he looks great. Yeah, he looks great.
I think he looks great too. I also think that he needs to score 50 more runs throughout the next couple of weeks. I think that's reasonable.
Have you seen how much he's been stealing too? I think that's to take into the fact, like every time he gets on base, he's basically guaranteed a stolen base at this point.
Yes.
Which is great, obviously, because that's how you benefit the team. If you're a fast guy, you run fast, steal a base. I'm still looking forward to Volpe getting some more steals. I still think they're a little. Last time he stole a base, or last time he attempted to steal a base, he was actually caught stealing, but it was a very close one. Like, I don't know if you remember. Like, you remember which game that was? Because I don't.
I don't know what you're talking about, but the game before he tried to steal again, and that was not a good take. And it was between the Royals, and that's where he drove in those 2 runs. He got a single instead of staying on first. He should have stayed on first, but instead he tried to go for 2. which is not a good look. But hopefully he'll try to get more into that stealing base flow. But right now in the 50-50 meter, Jazz Chisholm already has 13 stolen bases.
Yep,
So
pretty
uh
good.
5 home runs, so it's time for him to really
Start
drive
hitting
in
power.
some home runs
Yeah.
if he wants to be in that club. Or actually start that club because I don't think anybody's done a 50-50 before. The closest that's happened was Shohei's 40-40 last year, or no, 2024. So let's go, Jazz Chisholm. Go for
Yeah,
50-50.
I think if anybody, wait, let's see, has anybody ever hit 50-50? Because, uh, because
No, I don't think so. I think he would be the first person to theoretically open this club.
yeah, I guess that is true. Well, wait, Shohei created the 50-50.
No, Shohei created the 40-40.
That 40-40. I mean, it says Otani's 50-50 milestone completely shattered.
So if it's okay, so I thought it would be 44. I mean, technically it is 40.
40-40's
But
been done by a few different players. I'm looking at Canseco here, A-Rod, Soriano. There's some Yankee names in there. Acuna with the 40-70. That was a crazy season too.
Mhm.
But Shohei hit the 50-50.
Okay.
So
I thought he did a 40-40. I mean, he did do a 40-40, but I thought that was his like the club that he opened by himself. You know what, Jess? Instead of going 50-50, go 60-60. I dare
60-60,
you.
yeah, for sure. I think. Listen, again, I mean, let's start small. Let's get to 2020, right? Let's first start to get to
Yes.
2020, or
Yes.
at least 10-10.
10-10
Uh,
is fair.
you know, I again, like Jazz is hitting like fifth or sixth in the lineup now. I don't really expect him to hit home runs. Just get on base, steal bases, small ball, whatever you need, but just
Mhm.
yeah, just keep playing the way you're playing, and everybody likes Jazz like that.
Mhm.
Um,
I know
and
one dude who's not even close to a 10-10. It's Fernando Tatis Jr. He is yet to have a home run, which is crazy to me.
yeah, every day that passes the Padres, that the Padres play and Tatis doesn't get a home run, I don't know what to say. I don't know if it's because of the position changes, because he's been playing some second, and I don't know. I don't know what's the problem with Tatis Jr. Usually if you're talking about the Padres, you're talking about Tatis being great.
Yes.
He's slumping a lot. Um, a lot of people have been saying his swing is different, which I believe. I mean, sure, that's going to be a part of it,
I
but
noticed that too. I noticed that his swing has definitely changed. And maybe it's because of the position playing at second base. But I think there's also another factor to it is it's called PED withdrawal. Um No, in all seriousness, I think that's definitely played a role. Because I don't know if there's a statistic that shows that players who play in the infield garner less home runs or something like that. Or is it just PED withdrawal, like I said? But that's still kind of crazy to me because this guy was like so hyped up for his strong power hitting. I mean, for Christ's sake, I would put him in my lineup and MLB the show. Um, press that X button, baby. But that's
you
not
need to
the
play
case
that.
this year.
Do you have the newest one?
Not 2026. I have
Oh, we can get
2025.
2025. I might have to download 2025 just so we can play. Yeah, I honestly no, Tatis, I mean, I don't think anybody else. Murakami's been so great still. We mention him every episode now at this point. Um how many inside the Parkers have been hit recently during our hiatus? Like 2 or 3, which is insane.
Yeah, that's
Um
another thing too.
PCA's getting heckled by fans, and he's been slumping very hard.
Hmm.
uh, the best center fielder in in baseball is like
And do you
having
think the PCA hate is deserved? Because I've been,
no, not
I'm
at
gonna
all.
say, I've
No,
been seeing that a lot, like FPCA,
no,
because of his name or whatever. I'm like, I don't like him because he plays on the Cubs, but I don't like go crazy on that.
my thing is, PCA. First of all, no, PCA is actually a great player. He's been great so far in his career, and my biggest thing is with him is, um, I don't know. It seems like he's having maybe a little bit of a mental distress ever since that incident, and a little bit before then too. So hopefully he's okay. But because I never like to see a player start being upset or something like that. I always think of our rivals with the Red Sox, Jerry Duran, when he had his incident, the tennis racket incident. You know, uh, and he had mental health struggles in the past. So
Are you referring to Duran?
yeah, Jaron Duran. That's what I said. I
I
say
did
Duran.
not hear. I did not hear the word Duran.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, now we have to check. I'm gonna check that. But I think I said Duran, but yeah, he had his mental struggles, and baseball players historically have had issues in the past. So I never make fun of a player, for anything that serious or crazy. Again, like again here in the Yankees, I mean Volpe, was getting booed, just not long ago. Now he's getting cheered. You know, um, and
Yeah,
it's so crazy how much we switch up on our favorite players and the best players in the world,
it's
here
such
in
a
the
stark
MLB.
difference. It's such a
Yeah,
stark difference, and it's it's bipolar. It'd be bipolar sometimes with Yankee
that's
fans.
I guess that's what it is as being a fan of any sport really. But
Yeah.
um,
Mhm.
sure it's funny, like it's funny maybe at the moment, but long term, it's not funny anymore at a certain point.
Yeah.
So I guess we just got to see because I do feel bad for some of these players. Uh,
Do you say the same thing for Trey Young and the Knicks? Uh, because this is my thing about because my thing about Trey Young is that he's not even on the team anymore. He's with Washington, and we just beat the Hawks. Yeah, we're on the team. We dropped 50 points a day, and we're still booing the hell out of Trey. Bro, all right,
Well, what about
like if
LeBron too? We were booing LeBron not long ago. We
I
just
ju-
sweep the Cavs and we're
we
booing
we
LeBron.
barely played LeBron. I don't get New York sometimes. Listen, if Washington, if I mean Washington does have a decently good roster, but if we face Washington in the playoffs, can we shut the hell up about Trey Young? Listen, I'm a Knicks fan, but like it's getting freaking annoying. Um,
Um, if there's one thing I can promise you, we'll never face the Wizards in our lifetime. We'll never face the Wizards in the playoffs. If that makes you feel any better, but
don't don't give up on the Wizard. I mean, listen, the
no.
Wizards. This is totally MLB related, but like the Wizards, they don't have a bad roster. I mean, you got Trey Young, Alex Starr, um, Anthony Davis are injury prone, but when they're healthy, they can really play the game. And also they have their first overall pick, so we'll get to see who they'll pick in a couple weeks. But another thing that we need to keep in mind with the Yankees so far is our catcher situation. With Austin Wells and JC Escaro, who have not been living up to their potential. In fact, we have four catchers, and I don't know what is the issue exactly. A lot of them are just not swinging well on the ball. I mean, Ben Rice does what Ben Rice does, and Paul Goldschmidt does what he does best. They don't do it well when they're in a catch role. They do it best when they're on fair space.
Wait,
Uh
Goldschmidt. Wait. You mentioned Goldschmidt as a catcher?
no. Sorry, my apologies. Just Ben Rice.
Yeah, Ben Rice.
Um,
Yeah.
and my thing, we were talking about it earlier. Do the Yankees need to trade for a catcher? Because Austin Wells has not been living up to his potential. We know JC Escara doesn't do flashy hits compared to the other players. Uh, and we know, and I've been seeing around Twitter that JT Realmuto has always been up in the market, but we're at a point now where it's time to start looking for, in my opinion, it's time to start looking for more younger-ish players, like in their 20s and 30s ish, instead for going for more of an older lineup. Um, my question is that who would we pick up?
Yeah, that's something we definitely need to have a conversation about. Again, my biggest this past off season, I thought the Yankees were gonna pick up a catcher, which included JT, because my argument was that listen, if Wells was gonna be your starting catcher, then whoever your backup is just needs to play well enough. And
Hmm.
um, first of all, Wells has not been playing like a starting catcher. He's been playing like a backup catcher. And then Ascara is basically producing at the exact same volume while playing like one in every 5 games, one in every 4 or 5 games. So
Yeah.
when your backup catcher, who was an Uber driver, is playing the exact same way your main catcher is playing, and he's supposed to be a MLB, star, and and also it's so crazy because Wells was doing so well for Team DR, just this, uh, before spring training,
This
and
is the Dominican in him.
I don't know who took his DR powers, but something definitely happened. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, JT is still a better catcher than Austin Wells at this moment, and the Phillies are okay. I'm actually not sure how well they're doing, but I assume JT is doing fine. Um, when we talk about young catchers, I mean, there's so many great young catchers who are playing currently. I mean, the biggest things for us is we're going to face the A's in the next series after the Royal Series. Shea Langeliers was on the market this past offseason, and we didn't sign we didn't. I don't even think we offered a contract, and then he killed us in our first series against the A's.
Yeah.
So we kind of had to just take that, and then other catchers who we've seen who are young. Venezuela for the Blue Jays, switch hitting catcher. Kirk usually kills us, but it was just this young guy who came out of nowhere who's been so good, has been really destroying us now. And, I'm sure we'll see him again. Well, we will see him again for sure. But when Kirk comes back, I don't know, maybe he'll play a different position. But yeah, the other I mean, Sam, you were talking about the Orioles, Samuel Basello, lefty catcher for the Orioles. He's been great.
Yeah, but the problem with Basilio is that he's not a switch hitter, and we need righties. The lefty problem is very noticeable, especially if it's lefty on lefty.
What I will say is, look, if they don't want to get a righty catcher, that's fine. But you need a lefty catcher who's gonna hit lefties consistently and hit pitchers in general. Because that's the issue. Wells is not hitting righties or lefties, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, you need somebody who's gonna hit both sides.
Yeah.
Because switch hitting catchers are great and all. Well, that is unless you're Adley Rutschman, which he's just been so bad. Again, I'm hoping that he gets better too, but just as a fan of the game. But he's been replaced by this guy who's like 20 something years old, came out of nowhere, and he lost his starting catcher role, So yeah, I don't know. Righty catchers right now in the market, I think, are very few in between. There's not a lot, and honestly, I don't know if the Yankees are even like in the farm system. Do we have any catchers who are even close to this level? Even close to playing into the majors? I'm not even sure. Because anytime you're watching a Yankees game and they talk about Wells and Escara, they never mention other catchers who are like, well, this guy's coming around the corner, like, nothing like that. So,
yeah, there's no real big news when it comes to catchers in the minor league system. Now, in my opinion, I don't think it would hurt to at least send a catcher up that's a righty in our farm system and see what he can do. Will he get killed? Maybe, depending on the team. But it's also best to try to see what works, right? We did the same thing for Jorbit Vivas. And Jorbit Vivas, granted, was not the best player in the world, but he still had some good flashy moments. But that's something definitely to keep in mind in terms of our catchers. I like Austin Wells, don't get me wrong, and I love the story with JC Escara, who was the former Uber driver, barely got anything to make ends meet, and now plays in Yankee Stadium. I respect that. But we just we're on the team. We just need to see better contact hitting. We need to see better swings. And right now, Wells and Escara haven't been living up to that potential. And the same thing can really be said for our bullpen. Our bullpen has not been doing well. Now we touch on bullpens every now and then with our podcast episodes. But throughout the last 2 weeks, it feels like our bullpen has taken down a very they were pretty much they were trending downward, and we were like, what the hell is going on? Camilo Duvall, which we know Camilo Duvall is not
friend of the podcast.
Friend of the podcast, personal listener, has not been doing well. Paul Blackburn is Paul Blackburn. Jake Bird is Jake Bird. Fernando Cruz, and like I don't know about Fernando Cruz anymore because I can't deal with his BS. Listen, I like weak contact pitchers, but throwing a weak contact pitcher in a game where there's 2 men on base, especially in the Subway Series, does not make any sense at all. Tim Hill has been really, quote unquote, our best guy, and that's not really saying much. It's the same thing with Brett Hedrick, who gave up the run the other day. And David Bednar, which people on Twitter have been saying David Bednarden or Osama bin Laden. Because listen, he's been giving up some runs, which has not been a good look. The blown save was the Subway Series blown save was obviously the worst blown save that I've ever seen from David Bednar, which definitely pissed me the hell off. And a lot of people have been saying that David Bednar should not be the closer for the Yankees. Now, I look at this in 2 ways. I think personally, last year, this podcast channel didn't even exist, but we would still talk about, the Yankees. Mm-hmm. And personally, and when they were on the market, I'd say, listen, I think Johan Duran would have been a better fit than Bednar, because Bednar is a secondary option. But when we put Bednar, we were very surprised to see that he lived up to the potential. It's not so much here throughout the last couple of weeks, with a lot of ground balls being put into place, a lot of meatballs being given up, a lot of heart attacks really for Yankee fans. But do I think David Bednar should be replaced as the closer? Not really. No. I think the biggest thing to really focus on is just getting a better bullpen.
Yeah, that's true. And honestly, I guess the next thing is looking into catchers and bullpen pieces for before the deadline. Because position players are going to position player. Like some people are going to slump. Again, Grisham is kind of in this weird spot right now, and the Yankees didn't like what Spencer Jones was producing, which was only singles. So I don't know how they're going to react to that. I don't know if they're going to pick up another outfielder. I don't even know which outfielders are available at this moment. It's so funny because I was thinking a while ago, this guy, we mentioned Tatis was a guy who was I think he's still open for trade. I think the Padres are still going to possibly trade him if they get good stuff out of it. I thought the Yankees might trade for him because of how much he could play different positions. You could force him into short, and he's playing second right now. I think he's been fine at second. And obviously he plays a good right field and outfield, so maybe something like that. But with how much, he's not hitting for power at all at the moment, and the Yankees just are not going to buy into that at all. So, he's not going to be looked into. And,
I know, and David Fernandez Jr., Fernando Tatis Jr., I know he's been around the market for the Yankees for a good while now. Yes. But I don't think that the Yankees are really going to be that much interested in him. I think the Yankees should definitely be more interested in getting a couple bullpen pieces. Now, like I said, bullpen pieces aren't the best in the world. It's not like with a pitching rotation where you're going to have a flashy starting 5. But we need something that's a little bit more sustainable. And I don't have the same trust with pretty much all these bullpen pieces, maybe outside of Hedrick. But even then, Hedrick will give up a run or two in there, and that will be definitely a stab wound to me. My also biggest thing when it comes to the catching situation is, like I said, we need a righty. The lefty situation is definitely noticeable. If we could hit, and like you said, if we can hit lefty on lefty, that's ideal, right? But that's not always the case, and we've seen that time and time again. Um, but there's 162 games of baseball plus the off season, or not off the season plus the postseason. So
Yeah.
you gotta really see what's available and what can we do to improve over time. There's gonna be players that will be trending downwards, players that will be trending upwards. It's all about management. And that's something that the Yankees just need to figure out when that trade deadline hits. Because once that trade deadline hits, we can't really make any more adjustments. So we gotta really just, and when I say we, I mean, the Yankees front office have to really find a way to manage that.
Yeah. Again, it's been really frustrating because obviously, we want to see the Yankees succeed. It was a tough game yesterday, which we managed to win, and obviously the game before that, with Judge hitting a walk off home run, which is also cool to see always. But we got to win more games confidently. And the
Mm-hmm.
bullpen is a part of that because if our starters have been so good. I guess my last point is with how good our starters have been and the fact that we're getting Rodon back, we got Cole back, we're getting and Fried is going to be back sometime. Are one of our main starters at the moment, or maybe one or two of them, are they going to become bullpen pieces uh, for this foreseeable future, or are they going to get sent back down to AAA? And when the second half of the season begins, are they going to get called back up, possibly play bullpen or starters again? And just what you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think time will tell. Over time, um, what adjustments that we can make. But when the postseason starts, we, everybody needs to be at a 10, right? Um, but going to the look ahead for the next couple of days, now that we're back in schedule, the Yankees are currently in Kansas City, and they're going to be wrapping up their 3-game stretch. Yesterday they won thanks to Anthony Volpe. So today they'll get the start. Cam Schlittler will get the start, and Cam Schlittler has been killing it with the Yankees as always. I'm liking Cam as always. Um, and then the next day, Garrett Cole will make his second start against the Royals. I'm very curious to see if he'll only pitch like 1 or 2 innings, or they'll go for like the full 6 innings that they did last time. Obviously, we'll see what the baseball comes. After which, we'll take a trip to Sacramento, not Oakland, Sacramento, where they'll take on the A's. We had a bit of a rough outing with the Oakland Athletics. We got one hit at one point.
I
A
think
bit.
we struggled a lot.
Yeah, we
Of
struggled a lot. I mean, we had to rely off of Ahmed Rosario winner. And then the next 2 games were just straight BS. Very curious to see how that will go. And the A's has been killing it as of recently. I mean, even though they're 27-27, they've been putting up some fights as of recently. So we'll see how it goes. And then our last stop before the next podcast episode will air will be with the Guardians, which will be an interesting matchup. The Guardians have always been good. Right now they're killing it in the AL Central, 32-24, great record. So we'll see what happens throughout the next couple of weeks. What are you most looking forward to from these series?
Well, from the Royal series, I hope to continue to see Volpe produce. Hopefully he can be a hero tonight. We'll see. From the A series, I really want to see some great pitching performances. I think we can expect that. And from when we reach the Guardians, I think our hitting has to be very good for that series. So we're gonna have to look into that. Hopefully things produce there.
Mm-hmm.
And because that's a road trip game, and Cleveland's pretty good at home historically.
Yeah,
I
but
would.
Cleveland's playing in New York. They're not.
Oh, okay. So they're playing. Okay, so they'll be at home. The Yankees will be at home.
Yeah.
Look out for Jose Ramirez. because he's been a sort of a Yankees killer, and all the other Yankee killers have been moved around a little bit in recent history, but he's still playing for the Guardians forever, by the way.
Yeah.
And yeah, be careful with the future Hall of Famer. I would say don't do anything stupid. Um, and I guess just good luck. Hopefully, we continue winning games. And hopefully we win easy and not really have to grind out so many wins.
Yeah. One last thing before we head out for this 10th anniversary podcast episode is that your New York Knicks has just entered for the NBA Finals for the first time since 1999. We weren't even thought of in 1999, but here we are. I would say this is 27 years later, and the Knicks are in the championship. Now, obviously, I'm worried as hell because that West is a dangerous dogfight. Spurs and OKC are tied up at the time of recording. But this has been such a great journey. We don't have to worry about no fuck ass Reese Halliburton, no fuck ass Jason Tatum. It's Knicks all day.
Trae Young. Or Trae
LeBron. Man, fuck Trae Young, man. We have a good record against Trae Young. I think many Knicks fans forget about that. I think my only really worry was Detroit. But even then, Detroit sucked. They blew it. 60-win team, and you went to Game 7 with Orlando Magic. Now, granted, Orlando Magic has been very great for an 8 seed.
Yeah.
And then you went to 7 against Cleveland, which you lost at home. That was embarrassing as hell. But it's more embarrassing for Cleveland because they got swept. I was thinking they'd go for like at least 6 games because Cleveland has a good roster. Of course, playoff Harden had to ruin everything. I saw on Twitter somebody said, when the Cavs made the trade for Darius Garland, they got the wrong James. They thought they were going to get LeBron James. They got James Harden.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm so glad that, again, quick series is the best series because, finish it off. Get some rest. The Knicks were great when they came to play the Cavs because they had rest already, and the Cavs had to play a 7-game series. So,
yes.
I think that benefited us, and hopefully this will also benefit us when we get to face whoever we're going to face in the West. Now, I guess the biggest point is, so do we get a historical rematch against the Spurs? Would you rather have that, or would you rather face the demon satanic OKC?
The demon satanic. I think most audiences San Antonio Spurs. Now granted, we put up good fights between the Spurs and the Knicks. And the Knicks. Yeah, the Knicks fight each. I mean, the Knicks are bipolar, so it's like, they fight with each other. And the Spurs, I mean, we beat the Spurs in the NBA Cup and we won in close battles against the Spurs. Now the biggest thing with OKC is the flopping issue. With SGA, and it's going to be a flop fest with. Listen, as a Knicks fan, we know that Jalen Brunson is, but not as bad as SGA. But y'all are not ready for that kind of conversation. Honestly, I'd much rather go for the Spurs because the OKC has like 2 lineups, man. The Knicks don't really have that. I mean, we kind of do have that with Miles McBride and Mitchell Robinson and Shamet Clarkson and Alvarado, but that's not a good starting 5. In my opinion, that's not a good backup starting 5 compared to McCain and Isaiah Hardenstein.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. When it comes to the West right now, like just seeing like both teams are going to be very hard to, kind of take on. But if any year was a year to win the championship, oh my God, it's this year right now.
Yes.
Like, this is the year. It's been ages. 1973, the last chip. Oh my God. I don't know. I just look. You have all the this is the perfect opportunity, the perfect storm right now, right? Especially, I mean, I don't know how this series is gonna go in the West, but if they go to Game 7, like if these teams go to Game 7, hopefully they're exhausted and they're beat up. Because I mean, the flops, the falling, the blood. I mean, Chet literally blocked the ball and hit his hand on the rim on the backboard, and his hand exploded.
I know that hurt. That must have hurt.
it made me cringe because obviously you could see it happen live and it was disgusting. And then
Yeah.
he played with his hand. He had basically finger covers on, and he just played like that. I was like, oh my god, listen, respect
Hmm.
to playing, hurt and stuff like that. But I think I am pushing for Spurs to win this series just because I think OKC is such a dirty team, with the flopping and all the fouling also.
Yeah.
Um, so,
And I
but I
think
think to
most
see.
and I think most Knicks fans are. I think also the other part that many people kind of forget with the Spurs is that they have a 7-foot demon, a 7-foot alien rather, on the Spurs. How we're gonna match up with that, I don't really know. I mean, how we used to do it would be KAT on Wemby, but is that sustainable for the long run? I don't really know because that's just 7 foot of pure basketball.
Yeah.
Um, but like I said, I'm super super stoked that the Knicks have made the finals for the first. If you were to ask me 10 years ago, I made a video about this, but like if you were to ask me 10 years ago that the Knicks would make a championship run, I'd say you are fucking crazy because we had Tim Hardaway, we had Kevin Knox Jr. at one point, we
Hardaway
had
Jr. to be sure.
uh, we had Lance Thomas, we had DeAndre Jordan. Like it was a mess. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. We haven't felt this type of energy since Melo days. And actually, no, that's not. I mean that out of respect for Melo because Melo didn't. I don't remember if the Knicks made an EFC with Melo. Did they make an EFC with Melo? I don't think so.
No, I'm sure. Well, with Randall, that wasn't that long ago.
No, with Randall that was different. But the last time was 2000 actually. Patrick Ewing and Latrell Sprewell and all those great players. And and like I said, James Dolan kept putting his hands in that freaking cookie jar and just like messing up everything that the Knicks have been building. It was the same thing with the Rangers, but the Rangers are different because the Rangers were at least semi good. Knicks were terrible for the late 2010s, and like I remember in middle school, everybody was like bandwagon Warriors, like, oh, Stephen Curry and the Warriors are gonna make it. They're gonna beat LeBron for like the second time in a row. I was just like, yeah, we have Tim Hardaway.
Yeah,
You know what I
and
mean? We got Tim
Tingus
Hardaway
Pingus too. Not
and
long ago.
Tingus Pingus. Like we
Yeah.
might have a good run to 10th place and maybe get a draft pick. Um, but we'll see. This has been such a interesting year for Knicks fans. It's been such a up and down, and now we're trending up. Let's keep on trending up. And let's go Knicks. But that will wrap up this week's episode. Super glad to be back. I hope you guys love our voices, love hearing our voices. Catch us next week, Wednesday. As always. See you guys next episode.
Bye.
Bye.